I'm talking about.
Accidentally
All
hit
right,
live.
guys. That's right. Welcome to episode 31 of the Dragon Drive Show, presented by Summit Racing. I'm excited about tonight, y'all. We have a new Dragon Drive World Champion points leader. We have new Dragon Drive World Champion sponsors and event updates. We have a new bump spot in the top 100 racer list. We have new names on it. We have the new bump spot. Y'all, Eric went to One Guy's Garage drag weekend. He's got class winners, fun stories, favorite cars and racers. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Hot Rod Drag Week 2023 stories, records, and racers. We've got Back to the Street and Race Week updates. We got guests include tonight our Ryan Hargett and Carl Stancell III from Dragon Drive Events. Y'all, we're going to have a good time. Eric, let's kick off the show with your awesome intro, and then we'll do the intros of ourselves. Guys, I'm here with Dave Teresi, Mr. Energy.
Oh, yeah, I'm psyched to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm
Oh, we're looking this for a 6-something. That's
Excited you're here. It's going to be a ton of fun. Great weather.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited about this right here. All right, guys. Again, I hope you are ready for this because this is going to be a good show. We are fast paced, though. I have a hard stop at 9 p.m., which is when my kids go to bed, and I'm traveling before they are up in the morning. So we are going to, just telling you right now, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. We are cutting this thing off, even if we're mid sentence. All right, guys, if you don't know, my name is Mike Narks. I am a Dragon Drive statistician, promoter, and host of the Dragon Drive Show and news. And my co-host, the dude right over there, Eric. Tell him who you are and what you do, bud.
I am Eric White. I am a rising creator, apparently, on
Yeah.
Facebook now. So help out with Dragon Drive
Hang on, hang
addiction.
on, hang on, hang on. You're top 2% last week,
last
top
last week.
4% this week, dude.
Yep.
You're an animal. You're an animal.
Got to stay busy.
That's
Also
right.
help out with everything Dragon Drive addiction. And when I'm not doing that, I'm running my own channel and selling products for 815 LSX swaps.
That is awesome. Well, y'all, I want to say from the deepest part of my heart, thank you to all of our race car friends that are out there for your support, your comments, your shares, your likes. I tell you, it helps keep me motivated when I've had 3 hours of sleep and I need to put out a video while I'm on drag week, sitting outside at Thunder Valley in Bristol, Tennessee, trying to keep my head up to edit a video. So I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that. And thank you to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds for making this dream a possibility for me, y'all. I cannot say thanks enough for everything that you do for us. And remember when I said that share word up there? Please do that while we're getting this thing started. All right. Let's jump in. We're gonna kick it off right out of the gate, guys. We're gonna talk about events, and then we're gonna get into the hard hitting news. So right now, Redwood Rally is going on. It literally is happening right now. They are probably done racing right now. I think they end at 4 today, like my note here says. Tomorrow they're going to be at Coos Bay Speedway. I think that is in Oregon. Oregon and Washington. So that's going to be pretty cool. There's some pictures down below from Brian Collinsworth that he has posted on Facebook. Y'all, it looks beautiful. It looks like the Alaska Speed Week of the West Coast. I'm really excited about Redwood Rally. From what I've seen of the results, there are a ton of new names. I'm telling you, 60 to 70% look like new drag and drive competitors. And if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will, because that's a big step in the right direction for us. So I'm excited for that team out there and I know that they are just hammering through. They're midweek now, so they'll be 2 days of racing, and then now they've got I guess 3 days left. So
Yeah,
good luck to them.
I've been following them on Instagram too. They've been posting a
Yep.
bunch of stuff.
Yep, they really knock it out. I think Heather's in charge of all the social media for them, and they've really been doing a great job. The next event up is what I'm headed to in the morning. Back to the streets in Detroit or Milan Dragway for Friday, Lapeer for Saturday, and then we're racing back of the track. No prep on Sunday back at Milan. Gates open at 7 on Friday. Registration starts at 9. Racing at 11. This is going to be a fun event. There's going to be a lot of repeat drag and drive people coming, but there are a lot of no prep street race guys that are coming to this as well. So it should make for a really good time and a lot of fun racing. I've never been to a no prep and I've never been to a back of the track, so it's going to be a good time there. And then of course, I'm flying from the Detroit area out to Denver, $54 ticket. I don't know why you wouldn't have done that in the first place. To race week, which actually starts on Saturday at Pueblo, but I can't be there because I'm going to be at Milan. So this is going to be an awesome week because this is the first time race week has gone to the Rocky Mountains. So typically race week, which is what got me started in this, is in Texas and Oklahoma. Now we're taking all of these guys that are used to 70s and 80s degree racing weather and low elevations, and we're going to put all of them people in the mountains. We were looking at, or I think Adam may have posted, or maybe Matt posted, that it had gotten into the 30s a few nights already
Wow.
in the mountains where we're going to be. Where we are going to be is going to be in the 30s. I don't know if I'm built for that. Steven is taking his 10 by 20 tent with sides on it, and we're going to put a heater inside and hopefully not freeze to death out there. So
Should
that's
be
gonna
some
fun,
good stories there.
Oh man, it's going to be awesome. What I can't wait for. So I arrive Monday afternoon. Racers won't get there until Tuesday to race that afternoon from Kearney. There is a drive day between Bandamere on Tuesday and Bandamere on Thursday. So that means I'm going to find a ride in some hot rod and I'm going to cruise around with that person. I hope it's 150, 200-mile drive that day. I haven't heard anything on the route for that yet, but I'm pumped about that one. And
You know what I'm excited for about that
what's that?
is the pictures that you're going to be sending me so I can edit and post some good pictures.
Yeah, so we tag teamed Drag Week, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. But we tag teamed Drag Week and loaded. I was loading pictures to him, and he was editing and putting them out. It worked great, but I will tell you, I'm not really a great photographer. But Eric made them look really good. So, next event up is October. That's right, we're moving into October already. October 10th through 14th is the Street Machine Drag Challenge from from Australia. This year they have a dial your own class, so you can see. I mean, they got all kinds of classes. I don't know, but this is this event this will actually be the second time for this year that this event has been hosted.
Yep.
They kept getting pushed back because of because of COVID, and now they're able to have it in their normal time of year. So I'm excited to see that one because October for them is like spring for us because they're on the different part of the world. Like the world's round and they're down. And then we have Carl Stancell on later to talk about Drop the Hammer, Great Lakes Drop the Hammer Drag and Drive, a weekend regional event, 8th Mile Racing. I think there's going to be a lot of racers that are going to come out to this that are wanting that last event of the year. They're wanting that one last thing. This is held at US 131 in Martin, Michigan, and goes to Onondaga. Maybe I think that's how you say it. And then back to Martin. So it should be a really, really good event. Should be a cool turnout. And a lot of folks, our friend Jay Blanchard, who runs JWire Solutions, is one of the sponsors of this event. And we got to talk about it a little bit over Drag Week last week. So I'm excited about that one. It's going to be a cool one. Obviously, I'm not going to that, sadly, because that's just, I can't, it's too much travel because I'm gone the next weekend to Summit Racing Midwest Drag Race Series event.
Busy.
Pretty fun. Oh yeah. And then Death Week, the last, or no, see, not the last Drag and Drive event, but this is the big Drag and Drive though. 1,910 miles, I think, is what they figured up on the route mileage. So that should be pretty crazy. And then I saw today they're actually going to be in Vegas when the NHRA national event is in Vegas. So they're going to actually have it like an exhibit set up out front for all the drag and drive cars that are on there. So that'll be really cool. I'm telling you, the being at the NHRA event this last weekend with the 860 class, the street legal class, and all of our cars set up there and everything for the exhibition, it was wild. People would walk up to Jay and Brian and be like, "Hang on, you just drove this 1,000 miles and you towed that trailer?" And I think a couple of people even went over and like felt the trailer. They're like, "Okay, it's a real trailer. It's not like aluminum or anything like that." And it just blew their mind that you could do that. Clay Milliken actually found them all when they were in the staging lanes and had a quick video. He's running down the lanes talking to them while they're warming his top fuel car up. Like, dude, it was in the background, bah, 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 bah. And he's over here looking at drag and drive cars. So I did get him to sign my hat. It's right over here, which is really cool. And then he said that he is working diligently to bring Dentley on a drag and drive. And so, of course, I had to ask, what kind of times are you thinking you're going to run in that thing? What's the plan? And he actually said he'd be happy with 10s. And I was like, 10s? What kind of? And he said, I just want to survive. He said, and it weighs 5,100 pounds. So
Wow.
a big truck, 4-door Dodge truck that's half ton that belonged to his son. Anyways, we can tell that story later. We'll eventually have him on once he does a drag and drive to talk about all this stuff. So Death Week, and then can't show you that one yet. Can't show you that yet because we want to say thanks to one of our sponsors, y'all. Molly Motorsports. I got to hang out with Eric Grillo for what was about an hour spread out through the entire week. And of course, I didn't get any interview coverage with him because every time I saw him, I didn't have the camera. And maybe that was what he planned on. I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to talk to him next week at Race Week for sure and see what he's got going on. So just play this ad, and then we're moving on to what you guys just saw.
Molly Motorsports is the official piston of DragAndDrive.com. Molly's Power Pack piston is the perfect candidate for your drag and drive car. Molly Motorsports competes in drag and drive events and supports our community. Project manager Eric Grillo raced a 10-second stick shift Nova at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. He's also competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week last year with his C10 truck. Visit mollymotorsports.com for the most recent line of products.
All right. So I do want to come back through a few of these comments here and just say hey to these folks. I see Jay Blanchard in here saying hi. He's probably working. He's fixing to go on a big trip with his wife. That'll be a lot of fun for them. I see Brian Acton in here talking about Power Glide Lives Matter because they had to rebuild their Power Glide. We'll tell that story in a few minutes. And then, of course, Adam Green, got to see him while we were down there. Rick Dodge, one of my race car friends, got to see him down there. It was really cool. And then obviously the deals. I hung out with them several days throughout the week, and their story of Drag Week was really a good one. So we'll have them on eventually to tell that. But I will say this right now. More than 8,000 RPM is what they were turning because they only had first and second gear in the blue car. So pretty cool story there, and we'll get that eventually. So all right, let's move on. Drag and drive racer lists, guys. I have been working diligently through Excel spreadsheets like crazy, trying to get things ready for you guys. I promise all of the lists are coming. Right now, I'm focused like for today and tomorrow. I'm focused on the top 100 and the Drag and Drive World Champion points. I wanted to get all of that done before Redwood Rally is over and get those posted. And then, we go right into race week. So we'll have a day or two of Redwood Rally points that people gather. So we'll have that updated for the top 100, and then we'll go right into race week at the end of next week. So the first bit of info is obviously one of our race car friends, Steve Willingham, took over the number 1 spot, or the number 100 spot, the bump spot on the dragandrive.com top 100 list, right? So this is a list of this is a unique racer list. So there's no one's duplicated. So if you've attended more than one event, we use your fastest average to populate this list. This is right on the homepage of drag-n-drive.com. And y'all, this is a big deal because it's the first time we've had folks in the 8s this early in the season, right? So usually it took until the last event to get to the 8s, but we're already at an 881 average, and we still have we have Redwood Rally left and Race Week left for quarter mile averages. Y'all, that's pretty nuts. It actually knocked off 15 people off of the list for the top 100. So this is a list of the names there that were bounced. And again, all of these folks still had 8-second averages, which was pretty crazy. So Kevin Parton would have been bounced, but he actually went faster. He had an 886 average. He actually went faster at drag week, and so now he has an 862 average. So he moved from 89th in the old list to 79th in the new list, which is actually way faster. So that's a huge jump, not just 10 points, but it's really like from off the list to back on. One thing that I thought was really interesting is Sean Baker is the only new name on the top 100 list. So
Wow.
the other 99 racers have done an event already this year and have went fast enough to be on the top 100 list.
That's pretty
Wonder
cool.
what that does to your brain, dude. That's crazy to me. It's crazy because like when I started looking, I'm doing all these formulas and stuff, and I'm like, that can't be right, but it is. So we've taken a group of folks and we've not only do we do one a year now, now we do 2 and 3 and 4 events a year. So that was pretty cool to come across all of that. And again, these are quarter mile averages only. If an event has a single day of 8th mile racing like Redwood Rally does this week, then I'll use the Wallace Racing calculator to calculate those times on that day to a quarter mile time, and that will become your new average. It's about the only easiest way I can do that. We may do something different next year, but that's the easiest way I can do it this year. So I thought that was pretty neat. Carl Steamy strolls in with a warm beer. He's my buddy. And guys, let's talk about Dragon Drive World Champion. Had a huge week at Hot Rod Drag Week. Summit Racing has given a $500 gift card to the winner, the first ever Dragon Drive World Champion. So that's pretty exciting with all the other stuff they do on this. And Mickey Thompson Tire, Jason, you see giving the big thumbs up there. They are giving a free set of tires and buy one, get one on 2 other sets of tires for the Dragon Drive World Champion. So that's a huge win. Again, we're trying to make the winner race as inexpensively as they possibly can next year, right? Free tires and a $500 Summit Racing gift card will definitely help with all of that. And I got a few minutes with Tom Bailey, and he has guaranteed a spot for the Dragon Drive World Champion for Sick Week 2024 and Sick Summer 2024. Now, we're working through how to take care of payment on those, but I will assure you that you will race for free if you are the Dragon Drive World Champion at a national level event in 2024, whether if I got to pay for it myself. So this is pretty awesome. Guaranteed spot. And you guys know Sick Week has already sold out. And I'm sure we're going to be signing up for Sick Summer sometime early next year. So
That's
it's pretty exciting.
awesome.
We'll say thanks to Tom and everyone at the Sick the Mag team. So that's pretty cool. What's next on that one there? Yeah, so that means we have free entry into Southeast Street. The Dragon Drive World Champion will have free entry into Southeast Street and Yeet, Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week, thanks to Matt and June, Hot Rod Drag Week, and now Sick Week and Sick Summer. That's pretty impressive. So essentially, you'll be able to, I mean, think about that. Like if you were, we count your top 3 finishes. So that's at least worth $1,500 right there, plus the $500 from Summit. That's $2,000, plus the tires from Mickey Thompson, which is really cool because the tires from Mickey Thompson can be purchased at any track. So like if the Mickey Thompson truck is there, you can use the cards to purchase your stuff there, purchase your tires on site. So it's not like you have to order ahead of time or something like that. So huge win for the group there. So again, all of these will be awarded to the first ever Dragon Drive World Champion at the first ever Dragon Drive Racer Awards at PRI 2023. So on December 11th, which is that Thursday, December 7th, which is that Thursday at 11 a.m. Sorry, I'm getting it all mixed up there. Sorry about that, guys.
It's going to be pretty awesome. I mean, how many events did you just list off that they could have free entry in?
I think that's all of them.
Right.
So, hang on, let me get my notes back up. So we have Southeast Street and Yeet, Rocky Mountain Race Week, Hot Rod Drag Week, Sick Week, and Sick Summer.
6 events you could get into. If you could afford the time off and the travel expenses, you could go to 6 events with no entry fee.
Yep.
You could
I'll tell you
plus $500 and tires. And I'm sure that's not it. I'm sure we're working on
no.
more stuff. So
Constantly emailing people. I'm talking to all kinds of different sponsors. That's one great thing about going to these events is it allows me to get in front of those folks and have discussions and things like that with them. So it's a huge win. This is going to be big. This is literally our jumping off point right here. Our focus the entire time has been to take Drag and Drive mainstream and reward the racers for what they have accomplished. And that is what this is going to do, because not only are we going to award the Drag and Drive world champion at the award show, we're also having a huge award show that's going to give all kinds of other awards from our sponsors and from other racers that have ideas they want to give. And all of the racing lists that we have, at least one trophy is going to be given from each of those racing lists. So pretty cool. It's going to be a great time. And I really think having it Thursday morning is going to allow just the growth over the weekend, right? You're going to have a Drag and Drive world champion, hopefully, if they can attend, walking around with a Drag and Drive world champion hoodie, t-shirt. I'm telling you, there's a lot that's in the works right now that it's going to be a lot more than what I've listed so far. So I want to say thanks to all the sponsors that are coming on board and the folks that have been here since the beginning, like Summit. All right, but we have a new leader. You ready? So with the finale of Hot Rod Drag Week. Oh, there's that. Yep, right here. With the finale of Hot Rod Drag Week, we have a new Drag and Drive world champion points leader. This racer has completed 3 national events. You can see them there. They've completed Sick Week, Sick Summer, and Hot Rod Drag Week. They have placed second in every class they've entered. Okay. Now, when you say, oh man, they didn't win one, I'm telling you, this stuff is hard. You can see Pro Street is the class that they've entered. They took second at Sick Week, second at Midwest Drags, and second at Hot Rod Drag Week. They preferred nitrous as their power adder.
we need a
and the picture in the back there.
We need a drum roll.
For Drag Week, he competed in a car that was built in 19 days. 19 days. Picked it up. They had all kinds of struggles. They actually had their engine builder fly in engine parts in his ultralight airplane to drop off for one of the cars that they were campaigning. I'm telling you, it gets really good. Guys, let's congratulate. If you're at home right now, I need a clap because our new points leader is Graham Hayes with 101 points. This dude is bad to the bone. This is our first racer to get over 100 points in the Drag and Drive World Champion point series. You can see here, he accumulated 33 points at Sick Week because he had an 8-second average. He accumulated 34 points at Midwest Drags because he had a 7-second average, and then 34 points at Drag Week because of his 7-second average, which his 7-second average is a 7.5. So pretty impressive there to run down all of that. Y'all, congratulations to Graham Hayes. I hope you were giving him the clap at home. That's pretty impressive. And guys, again, they campaigned 2 cars at Drag Week. Like, that's very hard. And a brand new car that was built in 19 days for Hot Rod Drag Week. So congratulations to him. I'll be making a standalone post here shortly congratulating him and basically saying how he did and accumulated the points from there. So if somebody would do me a favor and tag him in this, that would be greatly appreciative. Again, Graham Hayes. That way he can see this. I sent him a message earlier today that said, you're going to want to watch the show tonight, and send him a link, but I don't know if he's not on Facebook or something like that. So if somebody has his number, will you please send him a text and let him know that we just talked highly of him. So that's pretty awesome. I'm telling you, these are the kind of folks that we want to win this award. Folks that they finish high in their class every time they go out. They have no quit in them, which they don't. They had the heads off or the valve covers off that car at least 3 or 4 times. I think almost every day they were working on something to keep both cars in competition. And obviously it paid off, second place in every event you've entered. Are you kidding me? So I didn't do any what ifs this week, but there's a lot of what ifs because we've got a few folks at Redwood Rally that could be potential contenders. And then also we have race week right up against it. And we're going to see some fun stuff after race week. But the benefit for him is he already has 3 events. So, we had talked with Brian Acton and Jay Blanchard. We talked about them a few weeks ago and how they could end up in that point series. Well, then the Power Glide slipped on them one day and so they only turned in an 1169 pass, which put them out of competition to be on the podium for the 850 class. So you can see where it just takes one thing. It just takes one thing. So that's why this is so open. I'm telling you, I'm excited about the Drag and Drive World Champion. This is going to really change the game for everybody.
Do you
All right.
know? Do you know offhand what the number of points is for second place?
96. Hold on, I'll tell you.
96.
Yep. Oh,
I was just curious on if first place was 101, how far back second place was.
yeah. Second place is Clark Rosenstengel and Evan Yerkwitz with 96 points.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I don't know how that breaks down within their stuff, but and I don't know if Clark has another event planned this year to attend, but he could attend. I mean, he could go to race week and leave tomorrow and go to race week and probably do very, very well. And then Evan, the same thing. But I think Evan lives in the Southeast, so he could do Southeast Street and Yeet. And unless he has points figured from there, all it takes is him finishing in a second place and he's tied with Graham.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy. And then, of course, it goes to the fastest overall car. So I don't know. We're gonna have some pretty interesting stuff. Let's see. Ryan Hargett is asking what his points are. Ryan Hargett currently has 72 points. So if you have questions of where you're at, just send me a message, Michael Narks on Facebook. Send me a message and I'll send them over to you with how your event stuff breaks down and what points you're at, because then you can begin to decide if you want to maybe make a run at something. With 72 points, if Ryan shows up to like race week or Southeast Street and Yeet or something like that, I mean, he could theoretically throw down another 30 something points and be in the lead. All he needs is 30, and you can get that pretty easy. 26 to finish, and then a second place class podium, and you're suddenly ahead of that. So, anyways, we're getting into the meat. This is where this game is really going to be played right here. And the cool part is we have race week. And we have Southeast Street and Yeet left. Death Week will count because I've talked about it all year, no matter what their car count registration is. The struggle with Death Week is there's no classes. So the top 3 cars will receive the 7 points for first, 5 points for second, and third place gets 3 points. So we will keep Death Week. I will say this for 2024 champion point series, we are just going to lay out these 8, 9, 10 events will be what we count from. It's too hard to start manipulating drive miles. It's too hard to manipulate, registration and things like that. I'm not going to worry with that. We're going to put, hey, these events are the number. If events that are national level caliber events come out during the year, we'll talk with our sponsors and see if it's okay that we add those. If at that point we're like, hey, this is it. That's what it's going to be. So I don't know. Anyways, congratulations to Hayes, to Graham Hayes. Let's move on. I see Ryan Hargett giving the face. Yep. So that's pretty exciting, dude. Hang on. Let me pull this down off the screen because I want to talk about what I found on Summit Racing before you talk about One Guy's Garage Drag Weekend. Because you had a blast.
I did. Even though I was only there for one day, I was the first person in line when the gates opened to get into Byron.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And dude, how many pictures did you post?
I posted 300 and something on Drag and Drive Addiction and about another 90 on Motorsports Paparazzi from the other cars that weren't Drag and Drive event.
Man, that's so crazy.
I think overall I took over 800 photos, and I did end up losing some of them in the beginning due to SD card problems.
Yep. Well, let's jump into Found on Racing on summitracing.com. Y'all, again, I'm on here all the time. My first thing is a camping cooler because I had a cooler with me. Obviously, you do that when you camp. I camped all week with Jesse Fox at 3G Video. I want to say thank him for showing me the ropes. But I needed waters, and at least 3 of the 5 days they were at the car and I was at the starting line. So this cooler right here is going to be one of the first things I order when I get back from race week. And then I also wanted to see what's the most expensive camping chair that Summit Racing has. And it's this Dometic Go compact camp chair. Y'all, this is aluminum frame. I don't know what 600 denier fabric means, but it sounds fancy, right? I tried to see what the weight of this thing was, but it wasn't on there. But $150 for a camping chair. I know some of you fancy folks out there have one of these. I'd like to know, is it worth it? There was a few on here that had like 5-star reviews. They were like, great chair. It blows my mind that a camping chair is $150.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
the one I sit in is 20, and
It comes in a bag.
yeah, from Walmart. So this one here, pretty neat deal. I was like kind of blown away at $150 for a chair. So, anyways, that's my found on Summit Racing, guys. Please, anytime you go to look for parts, let that be your first stop. Let summitracing.com be your first stop. They're a huge supporter of the community, but also of our brand here at Dragon Drive Addiction.
And don't forget, when you order that cooler, throw in one of these Dragon Drive Addiction hats, t-shirt. It's almost hoodie weather, so you could throw in a hoodie. Make sure you throw one of those items in your order as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to have that stuff. All right, dude, I'm going to let you drive for the One Guy's Garage Drag weekend coverage.
All right, so as I said, I showed up to Byron about 7:30 a.m. First car in line to get into the gates. I was able to get my media vest, so I had a Byron vest that I wore, so that way I was able to get trackside, get photos. Went and took tons of photos. I did go down each side of the track. I went through the pits. I think I ended up doing 15,000 steps for the day. They did get rained out on Friday from Cordova. They went to Byron on Friday, and then it was also raining at Byron on Friday. So then they went and stayed, I think it was at Fox Lake or Fox River, and then they came back to Byron Saturday. And because they weren't sure on the weather if they were going to be able to get racing on Sunday at Tri-State, they did collect 3 time slips just in case, but they were able to make it to Tri-State and race all day at Tri-State. So
That's awesome.
These are your class winners here. So Outlaw was the 8th mile class. Outlaw winner was Carl Thomas with a 5.10 average in that beautiful Fox Body Mustang.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that car. That looks cool.
Runner-up in Outlaw was Adam Folger with a 5.35 average. That was another pretty sweet car. I think it was twin turbo, if I remember right.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like it is with the hood exits there.
Yep. And then we have True Street winner, which was Derek Hurd. He had a 9.22 average. And True Street runner-up was Doug Dahl with a 9.83 average. And then we move into Factory Street winner was John Thuringer with a 9.76 average. If I remember correct, I think John has done 5 or 6 One Guy Garage Drag weekends now.
Wow.
So he's a regular there. Factory Street runner-up was Brian. Got a misspelling there. Brian Atwood with a 10.16 average in that Cadillac CTS-V wagon there.
Dude, you can't beat that. Like a CTS-V wagon that runs low 10s, I'm in.
Right, me too. Stick shift winner was Chuck Schleicher with a 10.21 average. And then the stick shift runner-up was Bridget Morris with an 11.19 average. And I don't know if you remember when we went over who was going to be there a few weeks ago, I'm almost positive that this was Bridget's first drag and drive event.
Yep, I think I remember her saying that.
Yep. So that was pretty cool
That's
that
awesome.
she placed second in her first ever drag and drive event.
Especially in a class that's that hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stick shift and all that. So that's cool.
Yep. Then we've got Street Eliminator. Winner was Eric Lawson with a .001 spread.
Wow.
So 11,722 and 11,723.
God, that's insane.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And then this next one's going to look real familiar because I think it's right behind you.
Yeah.
The
Man,
runner-up.
when I saw your post and saw the pictures, I was like, yes. I'm so glad that they went.
Yep. So Street Eliminator runner-up was Steve Eden with a .006 spread. They had a 12,961 and a 12,967.
Wow, that's crazy. So, when they did drag week last year, that car ran high tens. Like I think they
Yeah.
ran like a 1097 or something one day. So that's pretty crazy. So I know talking to Brenda, which is Pete's wife, they were thrashing to get the car ready and they just didn't make drag week, which is the first time they haven't made drag week in 15 years.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that. So,
Man,
and
that's
then,
crazy.
so that was your class winners. And then they did a shootout on Sunday. So the Outlaw heads up winner was Dean Anderson. And I believe I read it correctly that the winner got 50% off a set of Mickey Thompson tires.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. And then the Outlaw heads up runner up was Carl Thomas, again in that Fox body. And then they also did a heads up in True Street. So the True Street heads up winner was Derek Hurd. And I believe that was also a twin turbo in that Firebird.
That's awesome.
And then they also did the True Street heads up runner up was also Doug Dahl. And then they did a bracket race. And the bracket race winner was Jody Huey. And the runner up, and I know I'm going to botch the name up here, so I apologize, Joe. Joe, is it Hodgney?
No, Haney.
Haney. I would have
Yeah.
never
I
got
think
that.
I think we had that conversation on, I think he did Midwest Drags. Is it the Midwest Drags or Rocky Mountain? I can't remember. I've seen the car earlier this year. Maybe it was Six Summer. I don't know. Maybe it was Six Summer. There's so many events. I can't keep them up. I can't keep up
Right,
with where I saw cars.
right. So that was your bracket race runner up as well. So pretty
That's cool.
awesome overall. Oops, I thought I had one more in there, but I must have missed it. I think the last slide that I was going to throw in there, and I must have forgot, was there. I think I counted 48 cars that had showed up,
Nice.
and there was only 8 that broke throughout the event. So I didn't think that was
Wow.
horrible. And I talked to Nathan a little bit and talked a little bit about plans for next year. They're already
Mhm.
looking at tracks for next year. They're already looking at dates. So I'm excited for them to release that information. And hopefully I can make that event again next year, especially if they're back at Byron. That's going to be super easy for me to jump
Yeah.
over there because it's only about 30 minutes away. And depending on what other tracks they have, I don't know if they're going to run the same 3 tracks or if they're going to run different tracks, but I'm excited to see that. And I want to thank both
Yeah.
Nathan and Stacy for letting me come hang out, take pictures. I mean, I got to walk around during the downtime because of all the rain. The water had got underneath the rubber and the track was starting to come up. So they were down for about 2 hours. They fully scraped the track and re-prepped it. But it did give me a chance to go around and talk to a bunch of racers and take pictures. I've got a bunch of video. I haven't even started working on putting the video together yet, but I've got a video of walking through the pits, looking at all the cars, and then recorded a bunch of passes. So look for that coming up soon. They also had some other events going on. So one guy's garage doesn't rent out the tracks. They partake in like test and tunes and other events. So there
Cool.
was I think it was Midwest Super Comp Series was racing there. So there were some rail cars, there were some street cars, there was some, I don't remember what the name of the class was, but some younger drivers driving kind of like daily driver vehicles. So I think they
Sweet.
looked like they were with their parents making some passes. That was kind of
Well,
cool to see.
like a junior street type deal.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And then they had junior drag. So there was all kinds of cars. So if you want to see any of those pictures, you can head over to Motorsports Paparazzi. I posted, I don't know, 90 or so pictures of everything else that
Awesome.
was there that wasn't just drag and drive stuff.
That's cool, man. Well, hey, again, I appreciate you going up there and doing that. It's awesome to provide coverage for those folks, because usually One Guy's Garage doesn't get the coverage that it deserves. I mean, they've been doing that. That's the second or third longest drag and drive event out there. I think third or fourth longest running drag and drive that's out there. So
Yep, this was
it's
their
pretty awesome.
eighth event. So
Yeah. And they only take like 50 or 60 or 70 cars. I think he had wanted to stretch to 70 this year. And to have 48 show up, man, that's a huge number
yep, they
to
said
for all that. So
Yep, I talked to him. He said 50 to 60. He said he would like to maybe stretch it a little more in the future just so that they can rent the track out themselves, but
yeah,
they really like the 50-ish number because
yeah,
it's a real tight, everybody knows everybody, kind of it gets you that family feel, and when you
yeah,
walk through the pits there was a lot of groups of cars together. So when I went, there was groups of people and they were just hanging out, working on cars. A lot of them were just sitting around, hanging out, especially during that 2 hour downtime. But you could
yeah.
tell that everybody was kind of close to each other, and I thought that was really cool.
That's really cool. All right, dude. Well, let's get this thing cranking here because we got Ryan Hargett and Carl coming up here. Now we got to talk about Drag Week, which this is going to be a shortened episode on Drag Week coverage. We will talk about it again once I get back from Race Week. The first bit of news is Jerry and Matt Sweet went ham on a Sonny's 800 cubic inch Hemi. Like, this car is crazy. This car performed very, very well in 2022. We actually based a lot of our points series for the world champion off of the performance of Jerry and Matt Sweet last year. So this was really cool to see them come out. They had not attended an event this year. So it was really cool to see them come out. Maybe they were at sick week, to see them come out with just an absolute animal of a car. And day one come out and just lay the gauntlet down and run the quickest naturally aspirated pro street single pass in Hot Rod Drag Week history. Right? I know that's huge. And what's even cooler is they beat it by 0.045 seconds.
So it
So
wasn't even like they just squeaked by. They crushed it.
yeah, yeah. So that's a huge win. And that is, they are one of only two teams to run 7 seconds on two different days of drag week, because they did a 7:8:45 and then I think a 7:9 on the next day, and then sadly they were out. They couldn't finish. They made it 3 days of the event. This is actually a picture of them breaking the beams on the third day, trying to stay in. You can see the big tires, the street tires on the back of the car there. Doc McIntyre and Jeff McCall in the Sea Red Camaro are the only other people to have run to have run 7 second days in a naturally aspirated pro street class. And Doc McIntyre still owns the record. These guys were on track to really put a real run against the record that Doc and them hold it at an 8:03.3 from Drag Week, I think 2015 or 2016. So this is a car that's going to be very, very hard to compete with once they get it all sorted. And again, they were working up until the tech line to get this car ready. So it wasn't something that they've had together a long time. They literally thrashed to get it done, to get it there, which is really, really cool. So I know they're going to have this car sorted, but will it be enough? Because I know Doc is at home watching all this stuff, and is he thinking we need more cubic inches? We need to be bigger to make up any difference that anybody else has. So the next up is Matt Frost. Obviously, you guys can see Hulk there in the picture. He made it 3 days as well. This track, the third track, was not good to anyone. It hurt a lot of cars. His especially, like, he actually exploded the Pro Charger. But he did say on Adam Dory's That's Cool Drink live stream that he will be back for 2024 in the Hulk for redemption. This car had the potential to really put, I don't know, to be a front runner in the class. It laid down some very, very fast times and was hanging in there. Just couldn't get there. It is a crank driven Pro Charger, and so there's just a lot that goes on with that. The next story I have is this picture here. is really cool because Paul Powell, who's back facing us here, helped Brian and Jay rebuild the Power Glide in the pits of Bristol after they turned in their 1169, which took them out of competition. They ran back to the pits. Jay worked to get the transmission out, and Brian ran with some guys to get to a parts warehouse retailer, like even like a distributor, that essentially sold parts to them kind of almost under the table. It was legit, but like, hey, we're not going to make you set up an account and all that kind of stuff. So here's these parts to fully rebuild the Power Glide. And Jay was in awe. He actually said that Paul came over with like a flathead screwdriver, a pair of ring pliers, ring nose pliers, whatever you call, and something else. I can't remember, maybe a magnet or something like that. And that was it. That's all he had. And they were fixing to rebuild the transmission, the Power Glide, to put them back in. And those guys got that done. So they turned in 11.6 that day. They got the rebuild done, got on the road, got going. And then David Armentrout, who has the green 67 or 66 Nova, and Paul had troubles of their own. So they didn't even get into their hotel room till like 3 a.m. that morning after staying so late to help Brian and Jay. So really, big pat on the back for Paul there. And he ended up winning the Hot Rod Drag Week Spirit of Drag Week Award. So he earned that one for sure. Next up, our friends, John Mankia. Brian Atkins said Nichols Performance. If you're looking for a distributor of parts, that's a good one there, because Nichols, one of the Nichols salesmen, was actually on Drag Week as well, in the blue Colorado. So kind of a cool story there. John Mankia, who is no stranger to wrenching on his Camaro on a drag and drive event, had to pull the head off. I can't remember what the struggle was. I think he kept lifting the head and blowing the head gasket. So he replaced the head on Drag Week while he just came off of Midwest Drags of putting this engine in that car to finish Midwest Drags. And then the deals, the blue Mustang on the side that was driven by Chris Mary had first and second gear. And as you saw earlier, Nick Deal made the comment of 9,000 RPM all day. Right. I think he said they were turning 8,800 out of second gear to run that car. Here's what's even cooler. They ended up third in the street race small block Power Rider class with only first and second gear, not a Power Glide, like a Turbo 400 that run it all the way out the back. Let's answer this question here. Todd Kleeman asked, who owns the NA record currently for Drag Week? Doc McIntyre and Jeff McConnell own it at 8033 average. And then for all events currently, Ed Enzer owns it with a 749 or 751 or something like that. I can't remember. Ryan Hargett, 8,800. That's low. I'm going to let you drive. So let's see, Nick Deal. And then next up is Mike Reimars. I want to congratulate him. He is a new record holder for Street Machine Eliminator, dropping the previous average record. Now, Street Machine Eliminator is an index limited class to 10,000. His average across 5 days of racing was 10,030, knocking off Jared Ball's 2018 record of 10,034. So literally, what's that across 5 days of racing? 0.008.
Yeah.
Every day being faster, 0.008 to be faster. So that's kind of a cool story. So congratulations to him. I know he worked very, very hard to get there. That team was always wrenching, always trying to find, the adding weight, taking weight out, adjusting air pressure, all that kind of stuff. So I got a really good interview with him that'll be coming out later with some of his passes on it. And then, of course, the guy that's in the background that is coming up here shortly, Mr. Ryan Hargett, destroyed the Super Street small block Power Adder class record with his ET of 7,292 average. Y'all, just flat out laid it out. Mile an hour average. He also took that record at 192.8 miles an hour. Absolutely insane. One thing that is really cool. So I'm talking to someone in a hotel room that I split. I'm not going to say who, because this information may not be available, may be out and about in the world. But after this was set, I was obviously talking about what's that mean, because Calvin Hayward actually set this record back in 2015, the first year of this class, the first year of Super Street Small Block Power Rider. Calvin Hayward laid it down with a 7615. And I've heard that Calvin is coming back to Drag Week in the future. He's building a car right now that's coming back. Now, the person I was talking to gave me more information, but I'm not going to say it yet. So I'm excited. This could be really cool. And I want to congratulate Ryan Hargett, who absolutely went wild this week. Had a pass of, turned in a pass 196 miles an hour, 195.99 miles an hour, 194.63, 195.51 miles per hour, and then 182.7 once he had it all locked up. That's pretty impressive to figure that you have what is essentially this car could pull into any parking lot and no one would know it's like that. I mean, it is so cool. And I know he's probably blushing back there, but this car is one of my favorites. His wife is one of my favorite people. And Ryan's a good dude too. But I mean, like, Tammy's awesome. And so we got to pit by them throughout the weekend and hang out. So he did offer me a bed in his trailer instead of sleeping in the trailer with Jay and Brian. I didn't take him up on it, but anyways, I want to say thanks to him. So that was really cool. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff that happened at Drag Week that I haven't even gotten into. And I took more than 800 videos, maybe almost 900 videos with the big camera, and then at least 800 on my phone between videos and pictures. So I'll be able to tell a lot of really, really good stories. Obviously, I followed the Street Race Small Block Power Rider class pretty heavily. That was mainly who I was focusing on all week. And there's going to be a really, really good story that comes from that because, you think about it, Jay and Brian were in third or fourth place leading up to their struggle. And then if they hadn't turned in 1169 that day, if they had just been in the high eights, they would have, placed in the top 5. So anyways, it was really, really cool. So let's move on. Let's talk about what you got up next, which I think is found on Racing Junk Classifieds, who is the official buy sell trade of Drag and Drive Addiction.
Yep. Since we're going to keep it short tonight, I've only got one find for tonight, and that is an 86 Monte Carlo Drag and Drive roller for $10,000. Only one picture here, but it is in Davenport, Iowa, which again, I keep finding these cars that are really close to me. It's a roller, engine and trans, no engine and trans, no shifter, no wheels, different steering wheel. You can get it for $7K without that stuff. It was built with the intent of drag and drives. It completed 6 summer. Tons of really nice parts. Quick performance 9-inch, 390 gears with a spool, box control arms, Moroso springs on all 4 corners, competition engineering front shocks, manual steering gear, motion column, Willwood master cylinder. So you can see there's a lot of decent parts on here. 100% ready to drop your engine and trans combo in and go racing or cruising. And the only reason they're selling it is because they bought another car that they want to build. So it seems like
I remember that. I remember that car from 6 summer.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty decent car. Looks decent. I'm a fan of that body style. So
yeah,
anybody's got a turbo LS sitting around that they're looking to put it in something, here you go.
Right. All right.
Again, just the one for tonight.
Yep. Well, and I want to say thanks to Racing Junk Classifieds for coming on board and being a part of the program here. They help us. We actually see continued growth from their newsletter that they send out every week. So if you're not on that newsletter list, you need to get on that for sure. Well, let's talk about the last thing before we bring Ryan on, which is NHRA Street Legal. This is an 860 index class that they've been running exhibitions all year at different events. You've seen some of the stuff previously. I want to congratulate Emily Ballard and Cody on their win in this class. This was pretty difficult weekend, actually. Let me back up. This whole weekend was basically set up by Hot Rod's Mike Glemmy and NHRA's Lonnie Grimm, who we all know from Drag and Drive events. Essentially, we were going to run at the Carolina Nationals at ZMAX because there was already an NHRA event there, which was really cool to be a part of. What we do is really still very grassroots, and what NHRA does is very much professional. So to pull in there and see all of those trucks and trailers and all the top fuel cars and all that stuff, because we didn't arrive until Saturday, we arrived Friday night, but we came to the track Saturday morning. So to pull in, and Mike had set up an area right in the beginning of Nitro Alley for all these cars. So we had a ton of traffic all weekend. It was really cool. Like I said earlier, there were people that were walking around, picking up these trailers, trying to figure out, like, are you serious? These things, you drive these things 1,000 miles, and like Randy Bellahar was there, and I think he probably talked to almost as many people as Jay and Brian did, because like these guys would come by, and of course hoods are up or off or whatever, and they're like, what do you mean you just got done with drag week and it's this clean? Or how many miles did you put on? How did the car survive? And every one of those cars came by, or every one of those cars finished the week. So we had Randy Seward, who finished second in Street Race Small Block Power Adder. He was there. Jeff Oppenheim in the El Camino, Brian Acton, Dustin Trance, who won Street Race Small Block Power Adder and reset the record with an 850. Actually, the first racer to ever end or to ever have an 850 average in an 850 index class. So congratulations to him. I've got a whole big thing on that we'll talk about after I get back from race week. Randy Bellahar, Rick Steinke, and the Honk if Parts Fall Off, Alex Carella, and Jason Russo were there. And y'all, so it was like a huge mix of cars. You had Emily Ballard made the trip down. She didn't do drag week with us, but she came down because obviously she's done drag week. She was 2022's fastest female in drag and drive. And then Letitia Hughes, who is actually the NMRA class winner in the 860 index, who's been trying to get NHRA to do this for a long time. So she was there, and it was really cool to see how things played out. We were supposed to have 2 passes on Saturday, but it rained about midday. So we got 1 pass, and then they spent all this time cleaning the track and getting everything ready after it stopped. So we only had the 1 qualifying pass, and that really put people into struggle mode because we didn't know that we were only getting 1 pass when everybody made those, right? So they were trying to get their tune set up. Well, Randy Seward comes off the trailer, first pass, burnout 860 with an 8. Oh, boy's got it figured out, right? So then Emily comes in, she runs an 860 with a 865 with a 1, and then her boys Brian and Jay end up with an 865 with an 8. So at that point, they're like, okay, we can get this sorted. There were a few racers like Alex Carella, and I can't remember who else ran under, but they ran like 858, 856, things like that, right? So everybody was really, really close. It was highly competitive, but they just didn't quite get there. So we do that Saturday. Thank you to Mike Galemi for hooking us up with lunch or breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a suite. Y'all, we were like at the starting line in a suite way up. So a lot of the footage that's going to come from this weekend, or actually did come, I've edited most of those videos, is from the suite standing up there. We're way over the track looking down. It was my first introduction to Nitro. It's my first introduction to any of that stuff. I'm a fan. That's what I'm saying. I'm a fan. So it was really cool. But Sunday, we actually kind of got hosed a little bit. We were supposed to run right before the pro finals, and then they pushed us back because they had some scheduling issues that came up. So we actually had to run after the pros, but it was really cool because we ran right after the Factory X cars. So there's a video I'm putting together now that is the Factory X cars and then ours competing with that, because one of the Factory X cars that won the whole thing was the somebody's rod shop. It's the Camaro. And so, Emily's Camaro being a first gen and that Camaro being the 6th or 7th gen, whatever Camaros are on now. So that was really cool to see those back to back running, same lane, all that kind of stuff. So really a neat deal. I really want to say thanks to Mike and Lonnie for even considering me to be there. I want to say thanks to Warren Evans, who runs dragracer.tv, for getting me into the media room on Saturday so I could upload some videos. Really appreciate that. Emily ended up going on to win with an 873 pass after she lifted because Randy Seward had something happen about mid-track on his car, probably 600 feet out, and it just kind of laid over. And as we were leaving, he still couldn't figure out what had happened because he had full boost and all that. Car just laid over. So anyways, that was a really cool event, and congratulations to Emily, who's getting married in 18 days now. So
That's cool.
Yeah, that's it. That's a huge plus for them. I'm ready. I'm excited for them.
So
So let's talk about.
did you get to stand next to any of those Nitro cars in the pits?
Yeah. So one of the shorts on the channel is me like walking up to it, and then they just whack that throttle. Man, it got me good. I almost dropped my phone, ended up hitting stop recording because I jumped so hard. And then Jay forced me to stand behind one as they were firing it up, and I was crying and
Yeah.
coughing and couldn't breathe. It was pretty amazing. That's a good deal. But there was this kid who was probably 10 or 11 that was literally 2 feet from the tire at each of the ones that would start up. He would take off running. Like once they do their throttle whack or whatever, he'd take off running and go get behind another one and then go get behind another. We saw him do it at least 3 or 4 times. So that kid's going to have
Wow.
brain damage once he gets on.
And you could feel that when those cars go down the track.
Oh,
It's
like
intense.
there's several videos, even when we're up in the suite, that the camera shakes. Like it's just like a different feeling in your body. Like everybody says you can't breathe, but it's like your body is just like there's
Yeah.
this is I don't know. Your body is in survive mode,
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, Jay and I watched every pro round, and so we didn't have the suite on Sunday, so we were actually about 8 rows up at the starting line on Sunday. So that was pretty intense. He kept asking if I wanted to go down to the lane, like to the fence row there, and I was like, "Nah, I'm okay sitting here." So I didn't have earplugs, so it would have been standing there like a goofball, with everybody else standing there like that too. So it was a good
Yeah.
time. I want to say thanks to Jay for showing me a good time there.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly how my experience was at Joliet when I went for the one earlier in the year. So glad you had a similar experience. I got the walking through the pits and crying and coughing and all
Oh,
that stuff too, but I'd do it all over again.
oh yeah, in a heartbeat. And like I said, I got to talk to Clay Milliken for a minute. What was really cool is like we were really kind of having just a quick like, hey, sign my hat, get a selfie conversation. And then as we were doing that, we were like the last people in line. So I went to walk off and there was nobody there. And he was like, hey. And so he came back and we were talking about, that's when we talked about the 5,100 pounds of Dentley and like running tens. And he just wants to do one to experience it because he said that this community is the best community he's ever been around. He's like everybody is just focused on everyone else finishing. So he said that's pretty amazing. And at a professional level, that would be hard because you don't want that other guy to win. You don't want to give that other guy parts because he may beat you,
Right.
and so that's the way it works on that level. But Dragon Drive's not like that. So and hopefully it never will. I don't know if we'd ever see a professional Dragon Drive team. I don't know if there's enough there for that. But the last event I want to talk about is Redwood Rally, which is happening again right now. So we'll have some data on that. But so I'm going to leave the pictures that are posted by Brian Collinsworth up here. I'm going to run through these very fast. The class leaders currently now, this is not as of today. So this is probably 2 days of stuff, 2 days of passes. 3-pedal domestic is Brent Durst. 3-pedal import is Chris Oler. American Graffiti double power adder. I don't know what that means. And there's a lot of people in that class. So it's not like they built the class for one person. Is Chris Ballard. American Graffiti single power adder is Edward Rochelle. American Graffiti class leader or American Graffiti Magnum Power Adder is Lou Santinelli, Santillina, Lou Santillina. American Graffiti Naturally Aspirated is Matt Hiscox. American Graffiti Magnum NA, I don't know what the difference there is, Alan Taylor. Junior Street is Dylan Ellsworth. And I really expected to see Austin Alsop in that, but he is in the Mind Over Matter class, which I think is probably their like DYO class. And then Redwood Radials, a familiar name, Donovan Linwood. 2 Motion is Charlie Blunt leading that class. And then Unlimited is Shane Probst leading that class. So good luck to those racers this week. I wish you all the best. There are some photos that are coming out that are just, man, stellar. Like this photo here. I mean, it's really awesome to see these kind of views on a Dragon Drive. And I think I'm going to end up with a lot of this kind of stuff when we are at Race Week in the mountains next week. So
Yeah.
anyway, congratulations to those folks. Good luck to the entire group at Redwood Rally right now. So, all right. Are you tired of me talking? Let's
No, never.
Ryan Hargett. The man that has absolutely destroyed the the record from before him in Super Street Small Block Power Adder, sir. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Oh man, we are awesome. I'm glad to have you on here. We spent a lot of time together last week. I probably spent more time with Tammy than I did with you because I would bother her on the line. I say bother. I was running around with the camera, and as she was up there, getting you lined up and stage and things like that. So let's talk about one, who you are, what you do, and then the car to kick the show off.
Okay. Obviously, the name's Ryan Hargett. Have my own shop in Evansville, Indiana, that we do anything from general automotive repairs all the way up to building, a drag and drive car similar to ours. Our car is a 2011 Mustang with a twin turbo Coyote in it, turbo 400 transmission from RPM, and then we have another car too. We run out of the shop. It's Brent Sinclair's, but he wasn't manly enough this year to be able to come run this car. So, I have another question too. You guys are both real men and you have beards, right? So if you have a friend like Sinclair that makes fun of you for having a beard, is that just because you can't grow one, you think?
I mean, there's probably a little jealousy that comes into that.
Okay. All right. I was
Yeah,
just
because
curious.
your beard is nice. You have a nice beard.
Yeah, not as nice as yours,
Hey, there's very little upkeep that's in this one. I'm a lucky person.
Yeah, same here. There's gray.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting it. There's a big old patch right over here somewhere. So it's coming along, hanging out with all you drag and drive racers. That'll happen. Well, dude, you had a stellar week. I mean, you guys you came in with a plan, and a goal was to, you and I had conversations before the event started of what the record was, what you needed to do, and how that worked into your plan. So kind of walk us through. You made some changes between Drag Week last year and Drag Week this year, and then like what was the mindset behind those? What fuel change, all that kind of stuff.
So this year we switched it to methanol. Got rid of the intercooler and the ice chest and everything. Went to a little bit bigger turbo. Went to HPT turbos now, which are working really well. Put a set of APHIS injectors in it, for the methanol side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was really the major changes. Obviously, we had to build a whole new turbo kit. Same engine, different intake, similar intake, but same brand intake, same manufacturer, just no intercooler now. Just tired of messing with the ice. And it's funny you were talking about Cal a while ago. So the first year I went to Drag Week, he kind of welcomed me and, kind of showed me the ropes a little bit. I had no clue. Like the first year we went, we just kind of, lazily got there and going to get in line for tech and didn't know that you better be there early and you better be ready to go. And kind of learned some of that from Cal because, man, he was the first one there. He would one and done. He would be the first one gone and out of there. So, that was our goal. That was me and Tammy's goal, to get there, get in, get out. And we kind of take pride, too, in our car. We don't have to do much between switching it from street to race, We don't have to adjust valves. I mean, the only reason we need to raise it up is to change the tires. And, we might change the tires and take the air filters off of it, and put the belt on it for the mechanical pump, and it's about ready to go. So, that was our big goal too, was making sure it was really easy to turn the car over. The trailer was really organized. I did some updates on the trailer too to make it more convenient. Just try to, in and out as fast as we could. So.
Yeah, it was impressive to watch you guys make the change and be ready so quickly, because typically I think most of the days A and B class ran first. Devin Vanderhoof, don't act like you weren't jealous of my air jackets.
I would be jealous of them if I needed them. I don't need to jack it up and work on it like those pro mods.
That's right. That's funny. Well, Devin then put on a clinic this week too on how to make a 275 work. It was pretty impressive. Took third overall, and so we'll be talking about that one after I get back from race week.
He was only
about their stuff,
210.
so.
He was only 210 faster than that little 3,500-pound small block.
Shoo, man.
Mm.
I'm thinking I'm hearing some more grudge stuff need to happen here pretty soon.
He can't defend himself, so it's my prime opportunity to get on here and mess with him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we don't have time to bring him on with you guys and go 4 hours again.
Yeah, we know what happens, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We just keep talking. We can lock him for a 2-car shootout. Yep, that's right. Well, I'll tell you, the car was fun to watch all week. The way it leaves, it just, there's like this small wheelie that you just ride out. I don't know how far you rode it one day, but it had to be 150, 200 feet. It's really cool. I got that on camera too. So I have a lot of footage of your car. I think I have a few conversations with you talking about some of the stuff. One of those conversations is the mechanical pump. Tell us that story, because you actually damaged a mechanical pump.
Yeah, so the really ironic thing is that my spare pump was sitting in the big trailer, and I was like, that pump's new. I mean, do I really need to take that? I mean, there's so much stuff in there. The trailer just keeps getting heavier and heavier. You know how trying to decide what to take, and I'm like, yeah, I'll throw it in there. Well, day one, went out there, and we would have made a really good run on the first day because the track was really good early in the day. And about half track, it just shut off. And then it would try to come back on the street side of the fuel system, and then it would shut off, and it just bucked the whole way down. I'm like, what's going on? So we get back and found that it lost fuel pressure. Like, well, the belt's on, and everything looks good. It has fuel in it. I mean, what's going on with it? So apparently the drive had come loose and just slipped out enough off the pump that it stripped the splines out going into the pump. So didn't have a spare drive, and luckily the splines were okay in it, and then we put a new pump on it, and went out there and it was fine. So I'm going to do something a little different next time to make sure that pump cannot come loose like that. It's just a collar that it slips in and it pinches down on it, and I'm going to put a set screw or something in it to keep it from walking out.
I got you. So the mechanical pump, when you have it, is it like just a single belt that runs the mechanical pump, or is it like a full serpentine?
No, it's just a little small cog belt on the methanol side, and it doesn't kick into the methanol until it starts transitioning into the methanol over 5 pounds of boost. So,
oh, nice.
Anytime you're driving it, even on the big end of the track, when you're letting off and coasting and coming back, it's on the pump gas side, or E85 E1, it's on that side.
So do you run two sets of injectors with like 2 full fuel systems?
Yeah, so it has
Nice.
the same fuel system that it had last year, which is a factory fuel tank. There's 4 innovations pumps in the tank. And it said ID 2000 injectors that I put up underneath the intake. That's what we'll call the street side. And then there's a mechanical pump, a small tank under the hood, and a set of APHIS 800 pound-an-hour injectors on the outside for the methanol side.
Nice, because the orifices are so big. It's just like garden hose that dude.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It'll idle on those with that little bitty engine. They won't hardly the pulse width won't hardly get down low enough to idle on those. It'll do it because they're a pretty good injector, but
but it hates it. But it hates it. That's for sure. Well, I'll tell you that again, the car was really cool to watch all week. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about world champion points and beginning to do the math. What does your car run in the 8th?
So the fastest it's been was that day 2, it went to 7:16. That was 468 right at 160 to the 8th. So it had been 4.
I'm not telling you what to do, but if you go to Southeast Street and you'd have a pretty good chance of.
Devin wants me to come run that. I mean, so the problem is that the person we have watching here talking her into go and do another one.
Well, you need your number one co-pilot. So let's talk about events previous to this. So you did Drag Week, you did Midwest Drags. And
Yep.
did you guys do Sick Week? I can't remember.
No, we wasn't ready. I was signed up, donating my money, no deal, but we just combination we weren't ready, and we had a lot of personal things happening that made it where we wasn't ready. So
yeah, I can understand. We definitely don't need to get into those. That's no fun when we talk about race car stuff. So Midwest Drags, and I guess that makes sense because you've got 72 points. So Midwest Drags and Hot Rod Drag Week, which again, those are back to back. I mean, we did Midwest Drags in July, and now here we are. What 2.5 months later doing, or 2 months later doing Drag Week. So that's pretty tight.
the crazy thing is, normally I'm the type I want to go out test, right? Besides Midwest Drag, which is the first time we had the car out since we redid everything, we went to one streetcar takeover in Bowling Green. That's it.
Wow.
We haven't had the car out any other time. And we didn't even get to test for Drag Week. So
wow. That's very unlike you.
yeah.
I'm looking at the second place here. It looks like again, Super Street Small Block Power Rider was a Class U1. Another 63 Nova, Michael Ward. I don't guess I remember this car. Oh, the orange car, the EFI street car, or EFI something on the side door. But you had him covered by almost a full half second.
Yeah, I think he was limited by his license, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Rick Dodge ran so good they closed the lanes early. Easy now. We don't need to get into that argument anymore. not on you. I think you were probably done and gone by then. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, what are plans for the car? You going to do some more testing? You got more stuff coming up?
We have a lot of stuff coming up here at home. There's a huge festival they have. It's like supposedly the second largest street festival, and they have a big parade. So we're going to put our car and some customers' cars and stuff in that. And then we have our open house, and we have a dyno shootout and burnout contest and all that. And that's coming up in a couple weeks. So we're pretty busy in the next few weeks here. So I don't know if we'll get it out again or not. I mean, I guess
what's the date on the dyno day? Your open house?
Oh boy, it's terrible. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Man, I think I tried to make it last year. It was it's in October, right?
Yes. Yeah. The 14th.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
October 14th, Saturday, October 14th, 12 to 9. So
that's cool. So who currently holds the dyno record, or who won it last year? Are they coming back?
I'm trying to remember. I honestly don't remember who won it last year. It's terrible, isn't it? So as far as who holds the dyno record, that's our car. But we don't normally put it on there during the dyno shootout. I think during the dyno shootout, the most power we've had on there is probably around 1,500.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a bunch.
But it just depends on who signs up, who shows up. It's kind of like going to a race, Some years, 900 horsepower win it,
Right. So what you're saying is, no matter what you make, come out, support the shop, have fun.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
So I guess the question that leads us into that then is, how much power does your car make?
Right now, I don't really know because I haven't got it on there and really pushed it on the dyno. The big problem, our dyno will hold the power, no problem, is the torque converter. So the converter in that thing is fairly loose, and it turns, we zing it up pretty high, and it wants to blow through the converter on the dyno. So I have a stator I put in it and put it on the dyno with the oak combo, and it's made like 2,030 to the tire. But we're way more boost now than what that was then, So over 2,000.
Pretty awesome.
I can say that, and it has to be to run the mile per hour. It's ran for being it's right at 3,500 pounds of me in it. So
street car, baby. Headlights, self blinkers, pulls a trailer. So, fastest mile an hour of the week for you, real quick. Let me run down through here. I guess would be the 196.08.
Correct. Yep.
Yep. Man, that's crazy. That's really, really fast. And again, obviously enough to take the class record and in mile per hour too. I really think you just absolutely destroyed it as well.
I really wanted to go 200 mile an hour, but I tried on Friday, but between the headwind and the big end of that track was not the greatest. It I went that 23 on Friday, which was, I'm looking at my notes here. Yeah, 23 on Friday was a little faster, but it was only 182 mile an hour. That's because it was sideways and I had to let off. So
Yeah.
I wanted to get in that 200 mile an hour club, but didn't happen.
Dude, you were so close to. So I'm looking here. Jonathan Coleman actually in 2019 held the mile an hour average record at 185.57. So you beat that by 7 miles an hour average. And I mean, I think every day except Friday you were above that. So pretty crazy, man.
And the car's been 198. I think we've faster than 197 and some change, maybe. I think.
Wow, I think that's right at Midwest Drags, right?
No, I can't remember if we went that fast in Midwest Drags, but this streetcar takeover thing we went to, I was telling you about. That's when we had our fastest mile an hour. And the crazy thing is, it was 100. It was literally 100 degrees outside when we did that. So
imagine if it was 80. We had a couple of good days, but there were several afternoons where it got warm.
Yeah, I really wanted to go up Tuesday and make another run, but the boss kind of trumped me on that. She's, and I agreed with her. Sure as we go up there and make another run, then we tear something up, and we're not going to get to the next track. I mean,
Yeah.
At that point,
how many days? Go ahead.
No, I said at that point it was, just doing what we had to do to win.
Yeah. How many days were you one and done?
So the first day I wasn't because of the fuel pump. Day 2 I was. Day 3 was day 3 Bristol.
Yeah.
Bristol I wasn't. First run I spun. Day 4 I was. And the last day I could have been, but we went back up and tried to get that 200 mile an hour thing. So
yeah, because you were, and it's the last day. You're at the track. The truck and trailer is there. So
yeah,
that's awesome. I see Rich Guido in here saying he's on the road headed to race week. He's listening, so I want to say good luck to him, and we'll see you in a couple days. That's exciting.
Yeah,
see him down there. He's also in contention for what could be a Dragon Drive World Champion run there as well. So next week is, this, I kept saying Drag Week was going to change a lot of stuff, and it did. It really elevated a lot of guys to the point where now I'm sure everybody's kind of thinking, maybe I could do that. And then, then we're going to go right into race week here. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
So what race? Sorry.
Just real quick, I want to fix this. I did have the wrong car pulled up earlier for Dean Anderson, so I do want to just correct that here. I got a picture of the car here. I'm going to share if I can. I just wanted to pull that up so that I could get that corrected. So this was the car for Dean Anderson. So
awesome.
Thanks, Jennifer, for mentioning that. I did have the wrong car in there. I originally had the other G body in there. So.
I mean, he's in the background. I just meant the other lane.
so this one was Dean Anderson, and she did say that they won a pair of Mickey Thompson tires. So
that's awesome.
So thanks for catching
Mickey
that.
Thompson's
my apologies for having the wrong car there.
Yeah, Mickey Thompson's a big supporter of the Dragon Drive community. That's awesome.
So how many races are left that will apply to the points?
So race week, the drag challenge, but you're not going to send it to the Australia, and then Southeast Street and Yeet and Death Week. So we still have 3 in the States. Death Week, I think, would be very difficult because you've got to, obviously we'll have ET based points. So for folks that have like an 8-second average ET, they'll still get those ET points. But we'll since they don't have classes, we'll only be awarding to the top 3, as like the first place gets 7, second place gets 5, and third place gets 3 points. But like Southeast Street, and they have a lot of classes, a lot of open stuff there, and then race week next week. So, and I would think, I'm not saying this for any event, but I would think that any event at this point is going to take anyone that shows up. They're not going to turn anyone away because they want to see as much racing as we want, as everybody out here wants to see racing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about race week to get into the mountains. I'm ready to experience that side of stuff. We've done a lot of Midwest stuff, and now Southeast with Sick Week and things like that, but never really been in the mountains. So it's gonna be cool.
That'd be cool. It's just so hard to get away,
Yeah.
for that time.
Well, I think,
And especially for you guys, I mean, you just did 2 back to back.
Yeah.
I think Brian said he would pilot it for you, right? I'm surprised he hasn't made that comment in here yet.
Me too. He's been wearing me out.
Yeah, he almost had you on Monday night. It was or Sunday night. It was close of you guys swapping for Friday, but you were almost there. Maybe another few beers and you'd have agreed to it.
He had to borrow my scooter Friday to run back and get something, and he'd come back. I was sitting in his car in the lane. So like, this thing fits me, so we could trade.
That's awesome. Well, you guys not only won your class, but you won a few other awards too. So what are some of the other things you won at Drag Week?
So we won the quickest Ford, and then we also won the quickest with a sealed engine.
Wow, that's impressive. So you never have took a valve cover off or anything like that. That takes a lot of planning from the beginning. Like, who does your valve train?
It's factory.
What? No way.
Yes.
Like factory cams and stuff. I mean, obviously you got to have
No.
valves in there, but
It has a set of comp cams in it. They're just nothing special. The heads are stock. Boss Ford factory CNC heads that has, set of springs and set of valves in it. The funny thing is, I was joking with Jay and Brian. So I just finally changed my valve springs since like 2017.
Jeez, dude,
Wow.
what the heck, man?
Now there's twice as many, but it's the valve train's so small that stuff it lasts.
Yeah.
The followers are all factory Ford stuff.
Wow. And I was gonna say, like, you're literally putting that load over 4 as compared to 2 valves, in like a push rod setup. What about like chains and stuff? Do you with the Coyote are they the cams chain driven, right?
Yeah, they're chain driven. So interesting story about that. So I tried a different brand chain. I'm not going to say what brand it was. At Midwest Drags, and I luckily was changing the oil after we went to the streetcar takeover. I was telling you about it. I found a piece of the chain on the oil drain. Yeah.
Luckily, it fell down there. You know what I mean? That would have been catastrophic.
Yeah. So I went back to the tried and true, just the genuine Ford, factory Ford chains. So the secondary chains are upgraded. They look like that's right, more chains and brains. They look like a big black Chevy timing chain almost on the secondaries. They're aftermarket. But the primaries are just factory Ford, and they're not that expensive. So just change them off. And, I think how to end up with that other brand on there is one of those deals where you couldn't get the factory Ford ones fast enough. And I tried this other brand, so I won't do that again. That was scary.
Well, let's talk about kind of people that helped build the car. I think you had 10 Soldiers race cars do some of the chassis work, right? And then are you're solid axle out back. So who put all that together and what's your setup?
So 10 Soldier, they originally did the cage that's in there, the 25-3 cage. We've done a bunch of updates to it since then, but they originally did the cage. The rear suspensions, it's all stock location stuff. Racecraft control arms. It's a strange, just a bolted-in 9-inch for that car. That's nothing crazy special. Still has factory Panhard bar on it. That's really
Special guest.
Yeah,
that's
so
really about it on the
just
back.
hopped in
Nothing
here.
special.
He's grabbing some stuff from the shop.
Ready to go. Hopefully, get all the rest of my stuff done today, tonight, tomorrow, whatever.
Yeah, he leaves Friday morning for race week, so I had to
Cool.
take a bunch of stuff out to his house and forgot a bunch of clothes that I meant to put in my backpack.
Dude, I moved that trailer today. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, so he's got scooters and tents and all that kind of stuff in it.
The shocks on the back they're still in the factory location too. They're AFCO double
Nice.
adjustable. So
That's cool. Well, I'm telling you, that car is one of my favorites. I mean, I don't think I've said that this episode yet. And
Yeah,
you
you
guys
did.
do. I mean, y'all are a lot of fun to hang out with, and really anytime, I think it's probably widely known, but anytime you see Ryan and Tammy, they're usually having fun if they're on a drag and drive event. We got to hang out. I feel like more this time than we really ever have in the past. Usually I'm sliding in on the morning of to go, but I think everybody showed up early. We were all there kind of Sunday, I think, is when the PDRA race was, or maybe Saturday. I don't know. I don't remember. Saturday, right? Yep. And then we just had a good time, and we all kind of camped out in the same area and running around and talking to a bunch of the same folks. So it was a good time to hang out with you guys, and I want to say I appreciate the hospitality. So
same here. Yep. We enjoy hanging out with you guys too, for sure.
yeah. Well, I want to say good luck, and I wish I could make it up for the open house. And again, we'll share that across the page because I know there's a lot of folks that live in your area. You guys are in a very good spot for drag racing and car building and things like that. And if you guys don't already follow Hargett Automotive and Performance, you need to. Ryan does a great job at least kind of keeping us regularly updated on stuff that's in the shop. A lot of cool builds that go through there in those videos, so that's kind of neat.
Thank you.
Yep. Well, cool. Well, we're going to kick you off. We're going to bring on Carl, and then we're working to try and end this thing at 10 o'clock Eastern because I'm trying to get in and see my kids before they go to bed, and I have to leave here at 5 a.m. So I need to go to bed early tonight too. So.
Oh wow. Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Yep. Thanks so much, and congratulations again, Ryan. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Yep. See you, Ryan.
Dude, I like that guy.
Yeah, me
I
too.
really did get to hang out with him quite a bit during drag week, and I would make it a point to go by and say hi to them every day and things like that. And Tammy's always in a good mood. I tried to get her to do a couple interviews while he was doing his burnout or something like that. She's like, I can't. I got to focus on this. I got to get him lined up. Got to get him staged. So,
But you did get some cool photos with her. On the starting line. So I really liked those when I was editing those. The black and white one turned out perfect.
Oh yeah, it's kind of the shot of her standing with the door open, him in the car. Really a cool shot and a good moment there, with them. I mean, she really is. She's not just his wife. She's his co-pilot. She does a lot of the work and keeps that car running and going of what it should do during the event. So, well, let's bring on Carl because he is hosting the first year of the Great Lakes Drop the Hammer Drag and Drive event. Now, if you guys don't know, and a lot of you folks don't, I actually owned a square body S10 Blazer, and he has one as well. And we're going to talk about a little bit of that. We're going to talk about this event that he's got coming up and some of his history in the Drag and Drive community because he's done several of these as well. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Oh man, we're doing great. Glad that you're on here now. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about your event coming up, but I want to start back a little bit because I want to kind of, who you are, where you live, and then we got to talk about this Blazer. You got to give me the rundown. I've seen it at a bunch of different events, and actually, when I was going through my 2014 Drag Week pics, it was one of the pictures that I took while I was over there, I think. So pretty neat. I think you've probably had that a little bit. So let's run into it. So who you are, where you're from, and then about the Blazer.
Yeah, my name's Carl Stancell. I live in Wyoming, Michigan, kind of Grand Rapids area. Been in drag racing since, that Blazer is my first hot rod. I got that in 93. Bought it from my dad and just has progressed over
Nice.
the years. We did our first drag and drive in was Hot Rod Drag Week 2014.
Wow.
Was because the way the truck's built, it was we ran unlimited class because it's round tube from the firewall back. It's mild
Oh,
CL
cool.
chassis. It was just a LS at twin turbo with a turbo 400. We ran in the eights all week with it, and then the following year we did the first event of Rocky Mountain Race Week. Ran in the radial class against Eric Yost and coming second to him with it then running in the eights as well.
That's awesome.
Then we took a hiatus a little bit, did a little bit of a small little local drag and drive 3-day deal thing here for a few years in 16 and 17, I think it was. And then we haven't done much with it, little local stuff. And then 2021, we did drag week with it. Hit a deer, mucked up the front end a little bit. Completed that. Then we did sick week, the first year of sick week, 21, and we crashed. We put it in the wall on day 3 at Gainesville, and that put the end to that trip. And then this year we went down to sick week again and blew the motor up on Monday. Actually cracked the block, found another block locally, and put all the internals in it and got the truck back together. Made it through the week. We beat Gainesville. We were in fastest pass in Gainesville. So that's where I lost
Yes.
it in 22 and 21, 22. So I was pretty pumped about that we had achieved that, and we finished the week out.
Yeah.
And we haven't done much with the truck this year, with some other things going on. Daughter getting married, and then putting on Drop the Hammer takes a lot of work. So I haven't done much with it yet, but we're keep prepping it to go back to sick week again in 24. So
Nice. That's awesome. Well, that is always a fun event. It's always a cool rig to see. I don't have any pictures pulled up here. I should have it, but it's a flat black square body. What's it like 80, 87, 88, something like that?
84.
84.
An 84.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I had an 89 in high school that was 2-door, 2-wheel drive, like that was red with a V8 in it. And that was my first hot rod. The old
Yeah.
truck that I have now was, it wasn't the hot rod that Blazer was.
Thanks.
So it's a lot of fun. They transfer weight well, and I can imagine y'all's is much more built than my factory setup was. I think I still had the 7.5-inch rear axle and all that kind of stuff in that one.
Yeah. The guys are trying to talk me into doing some no prep stuff with it because it hooks pretty good.
Nice.
I rarely have an issue with it hooking even on the radials. So
Yeah. Well, I think one of the cool things about your event is obviously the folks that are involved. Jay Blanchard is a good friend of mine, and we got to talk a little bit about the event while we were down at Drag Week. So why don't you run us through like the tracks you're running at and kind of your format?
yeah, so we're gonna be at US 131 Motorsports Park on the 13th. And then on the 14th we're gonna be at Onondaga Dragway. It's gonna be a 125-mile trip.
Nice.
Between the tracks, and then on Sunday we go back to US 131. It's another 125 miles trip back there, so it gives a little bit of a cruise time. And that's kind of what I like about doing these things, is getting out there and getting on the road, just cruising along with the other guys and whatnot. So I wanted to have the tracks are relatively close to each other, but we made some loops to drag it out a little bit so that to get some distance on them.
Nice.
It's
And I feel
8-mile
like,
format.
yeah.
Yep,
I
run
would
an
say
eighth mile.
I feel like 125 miles is a good distance. You know what I mean? Like it's far enough to weed out any, I would call them not streetcars, but it's long enough
Hmm.
that there's gonna be a fuel stop in there for folks, and
Yep.
that's where you have the most fun. You're gonna find lunch or dinner somewhere with some of your friends. You're gonna find a gas station you're gonna end up with, and other cars are gonna be coming through and all that kind of stuff. So I think 125 miles is good.
Yeah. So yeah, eighth mile. It's the traditional average. We got
Mhm.
five running five classes, an unlimited class, and then a 28/275 class, and a 545 index, and then a 640 index. And those are equivalent to the 850, 10-0,
Yep,
quarter mile classes, and then a dial your own class
that's awesome.
um, for, yeah.
Yeah, well, you should have plenty of folks across all those. That's a fun grouping of runs. I'm interested to see the eighth mile index stuff. I think that'll be as we move forward with drag and drive, and as things become larger, and we end up with more, I'm going to say regional events, weekender type stuff, and eighth mile stuff. I think we're going to really, it takes a lot to get to be very very consistent in an eighth mile because you have to
Hmm.
have everything right. Everything has to do what it's supposed to.
Right. And the draw to the eighth mile too is you're not burning the car down on the top end. You
Mhm.
can, your certifications are a little bit faster, and you can have a little more fun on the front side versus just running it out the back end.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one thing. Like even Bill Armstrong was talking about that at Miles of Mayhem. Was like, he burned a lot less fuel during the racing. To so that's a huge win for
Hmm.
as expensive as race fuel is.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do you have for route stops?
Um, I have three stops for each leg.
Oh,
One of them is Gilmore Car Museum. We'll
oh,
be
cool.
stopping in there, taking pictures there for one of them. One is a casino en route, and
Double your
there's
money,
a
baby.
yeah. If they want to stop and roll some, let's go for it. Bring home a little more.
Yeah.
Um, then one of the stops is up in the north part of West Michigan. There's a Fallsburg Bridge, which is a
Hmm.
little single lane bridge, wood bridge, 6,000 pound capacity, little deal that they allow people to drive cars across. So we're
Wow.
gonna drive through, and your co-pilot's gonna take a picture as you're coming out the other end of it. That's gonna be
How
your
That's
cool.
checkpoint.
cool.
Something a
Yeah.
little different, some little fun with it. So
That sounds fun. I think route stops are really, that's where the game is really stepped up a lot of times is it a spot that's big enough for folks to hang out? And then is it also an area that people want to hang out? I think the casino,
mhm.
that's a good call. I'm not a gambler. I like to spend my money on car parts, but some folks are. And then Nick Deal here saying Gilmore is in my backyard, literally.
Yeah, I think it
That's
is.
awesome.
But
That's awesome.
we're gonna be done early enough so the guys can, the racers can, the guys, gals, whoever's there,
Hmm.
they can take their time, they can enjoy the stops, they can enjoy the route, they can get to the hotels, you know, if they're staying at hotels or at home, because I
Yeah.
think a majority of the people attending are gonna be local, so they can stay
Oh,
at home,
cool. Yeah.
so it makes it a little easier for them. And that's why I kind of pushed it for like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so
Hmm.
people aren't having to take a whole week off of work. It makes it real hard for that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Well, and I think we're seeing it now in some of the regional events. A lot of these are the gateway drug to drag and drive. These folks will
mhm.
come out and do this and get this experience, and then end up doing a big event, a national event next year. So,
Yeah,
what time what time of day do you race?
it's going to be the middle of the day. Friday we're going to start a little bit later because of tech and everything.
Hmm.
We're going to be starting at 11 with and running for 4 hours on the track. But
Nice.
then Saturday and Sunday we'll be starting at 10. Running for 4 hours on Saturday and Sunday we'll go a little bit longer because we're going to do a quick 8 shootout.
Yeah.
So we'll take the quickest 8 cars that turned in time slips, and we'll throw them in a heads up, run what you brung,
That's awesome.
no hold barred, chip draw for lane and pairing, and get it down.
How cool, man.
So-
That sounds like a ton of fun. And again, guys, you can follow that at Great Lakes Drop the Hammer. It's an event on Facebook. Definitely got to keep up with that stuff and all that. Well, what else? You want to give a shout out to some of your sponsors?
Yeah, for sure. They got Sleep Doctor came on. He was my first sponsor that came on, but then we've got J-Wire as well. You guys have talked about that. I've got Michigan Critical Power, Go Fast Productions. That's actually my home camp for where we build our
Nice.
cars and stuff like that. And the owner there is good. This is going to be his first drag and drive.
Oh, cool.
He does a lot of heads up shootout stuff, and we're taking his car and gonna convert it to drag and drive and see how he likes it.
Nice.
Then let's see, I got Grand Valley Towing, Torque Storm Superchargers is come on board. Let's see who else. Pro Finish, powder coating, and then we just Contreras Graphics just came on today.
That's great.
So we're adding them today. So
That's cool. Well, what's the Go Fast Productions guy? What's he gonna race?
he's got a 66 GTO,
Mm.
2 chassis car. He's done Roadkill Nights. He's actually been the reigning champion for the last 4 or 5 years, other than the year that Joe Barry won it when he wasn't there. So he's gonna see how he likes the drag and drive stuff. He's gonna tow my little trailer that I normally tow. So
That's cool. Well, any final thoughts here before we kick you off? Because we're getting close to our time.
yeah, just we're trying to get more people out there. The drag and drive, it's it's awesome, group and community, and more people are trying to get into it and doing it, and it's a fun deal. You get to race, you get to cruise, just hit us up. Hit any of
And you can see
the
all your
drag
race
and
car
drives
friends.
around your area.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's pretty cool. Like you guys, there's several events that have been in the Michigan area this year, and so that's going to be really. I mean, you guys are going to see an explosion. I think once all of the publicity of all those events begins to really play out. So it's going to be kind of neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking
Well,
forward to it.
Yeah, I want to say good luck to you. We'll see you. We'll obviously be following along on all the stuff. I don't think I have anything that weekend as far as like I know I won't be traveling or anything, but definitely allow me to really watch closely and keep everybody updated and share all the posts and things like that. And that's one thing, for the folks that are watching, that's one thing you can do to help these events. If you can't attend, you can at least share posts. You can at least talk about it. You can at least let other people know about it. So jump on Facebook, Great Lakes Drop the Hammer, and make sure you're friends with Carl and keep up with all the things that are happening on that event.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
All right,
thank
Carl,
you.
thanks so much, bud. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I really do like his Blazer bunch. I did have one in high school, and that's really what took me to becoming friends and following his stuff. And that event I think is going to be really good. And that part of the country, from what Jay was saying, is going to be beautiful that time of year. So it's going to be really good. They're going to have some very, very fast weather, fast car weather, boost weather. I don't know what you want to call it, but
So,
I'm
I
excited
don't-
about that.
I don't want to commit to anything, but my mother-in-law does live real close to that area, so I have brought it up to the wife that, maybe that's a good weekend to go visit the mother-in-law, and
Yeah.
maybe I can slide over one day, and we'll see.
Listen, we got to make that happen, man. Just be like, hey, honey, I got this great idea.
I've already told her because we've talked
yeah.
about going up to visit here shortly, so we'll see if we can make that happen if that weekend ends up working.
Yeah, well, there's nothing better than October 13th through 15th for you guys to go visit.
Yeah.
Oh, the weather's beautiful. I've heard there's this bridge, like a 1-lane bridge we can go look at at
Yeah.
about 3 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, I looked it up and I can't remember exactly, but I think we go past it like 45 minutes to where she's at. So,
Nice.
it'd be perfect to go visit one day. Maybe
Mhm.
maybe she can drop me off at the track and go back and visit the next day, pick me up later, or maybe
Yeah.
she can stay for the day. I don't know. We'll see, but definitely been talking about that.
Well, good. Bring it on. Well, guys, I want to say thanks for everybody that has hung out with us and watched the entire episode, and everybody that's kind of been in and out. I want to say thanks again for doing that for us. We appreciate you guys. And again, this will be cut down and put onto the Dragon Drive Addiction podcast on Friday morning, most likely, as a standalone episode. So, going to be a good time there. And if you're not following us on the podcast stuff, it's a great way to catch up on this information. We do these live streams are put onto the podcast on Friday mornings, and then the Dragon Drive news on Saturday mornings is put on Mondays. So I hope I can keep that schedule up next week. It's going to be a busy week, but I should have plenty of time Monday. It may have to drop a little later Monday because of Sunday and the race and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, well, dude, what kind of stuff do we want to BS through here at the last little bit?
I think just getting everybody excited for the upcoming event. We've been killing it with content between you sending me pictures, you posting videos, me going to an event. You're going to 2 events. If I can make Drop the Hammer, that'd be another one. I mean,
Dude,
there's
well,
nobody
then
working
I'm
harder
going
than us
to
right now.
Yeah, I'm going to Street and Yeet, so that's going to be awesome. I don't know if I'm going to drive out there or if I'm going to fly. I would really like to fly, but then I need to rent something. And I don't know if I want to do that. The little Saturn rocket, I changed the oil in it since last Thursday. I guess I left Thursday, maybe Friday. I left Friday morning. I drove 3,300 miles. So
Wow.
yeah, it was enough to change the oil again this morning. So that little car just does great, man. 80 something miles an hour and 30 miles a gallon. So
I think it'd be interesting at the end of the year to see how many of the events we have attended for
oh
us.
yeah.
I think it's going to be a
And
pretty good number.
oh yeah, this year, well, I mean, we could run through it real quick if we wanted to, but we may put that together for next week's show or the week after I get back from race week because I will be on site doing that one then. And yeah, plug for Back to the Streets. You bet. I'm headed out in the morning, 5:30 a.m. I will be arriving at the airport to fly to Detroit to meet up with all my race car friends. Matt Lang is the promoter of that event. If you do not follow him, you need to. And guys, Back to the Streets is an event on Facebook. Again, no prep, heads up, elimination, drag and drive. This is going to be nuts. Friday is front of the track, no prep at Milan. Saturday is front of the track, no prep at Lapeer. And then Sunday we come back for not only back of the track, no prep, drag and drive, but also a shootout that I think has 30 something cars signed up for a back half drag race. So it's going to be pretty crazy. And then Nick Deal here says, when I was talking about flying in for Southeast Street, and Devin Vanderhoof probably has 10 extra cars that I could drive. I don't know about that. There's only one I want to, and it's that white one. So
32.
yeah, 32 cars. Yeah. So yeah, me too at 5:30. Matt Walters headed that way. I'm excited to see those guys again. Got to meet them and all of his group. Walter Racecraft last year. I think they brought 5 third gens, with 3 of them being white, to Midwest Drags last year. So that's what I got to he said 46 cars was the last number he heard about a week ago for the shootout. So that should be pretty crazy to watch. And that's going to be on Sunday at Milan. So and then Taylor Hedrick in here saying, see you at Street and Eat. What does back of the track involved is Rodney's Rides is asking. So essentially what they do is where the normal shutdown area is for the quarter-mile drag strip, they actually, I guess I'm going to say, spray paint a starting line and Chuck B. Humble will be out there flagging. I don't know what his normal flagging process is. If it's a flashlight, if it's an arm drop, if it's flag.
It's a flashlight.
Oh, flashlight. And so he'll be out there, flashlight starting, cars side by side, heads up, racing that way. And it'll be on a normal ladder style, winner moves on. I don't know. They'll probably do chip draw and all that kind of cool stuff. And I'm sure there'll be some betting that goes on around there as well. So, it's going to be a crazy weekend. And then obviously I fly right from that right into race week and meet everybody at Bandimere for Bandimere on Tuesday, a drive day on Wednesday, and Bandimere on Thursday. Hint, hint, Eric. I don't know how cheap flights are from Chicago to Bandimere or to Denver, but let's look into that. I think we were teasing you a little bit last Wednesday on you maybe doing that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, but if you're going to go to Drop the Hammer, it's kind of like the travel, the back to back travel there.
Yeah. One of us has a full-time job here.
Yeah. Well, I can appreciate that for now for you. That's the way it works, man. Got a lot of comments here popping up in the chat. So I want to say thanks everybody that's made comments all night. This has been pretty fun. And dude, I'll be live on Saturday. I guess we could do the news from wherever I am that morning. I'll be Eastern time, so we could do 10 o'clock. I think that's when racing starts. So maybe I can do it from the track. We'll do like we did last time, where kind of you run the show and have notes, and I'll do it from that side.
Yeah, I think we could make that happen again.
All right, do that, and then the next Wednesday I'll obviously be on site. I'll be on race week, but if it's a drive day, I don't know if we'll be back at Bandimere. So I don't know the service for me. So we may have a short show or something like that for next week, because we'll obviously have the Redwood Rally stuff to update.
Yeah, or we could slide it one day forward or backwards if we need to make sure you're at a spot that we can get some service.
Yep. So we'll be racing race week, and the Rocky Mountain team race at night, which is really cool. So they'll be doing a lot of the night racing. I think is really cool because it brings a lot more spectators in, and for us that means maybe we can talk to some more folks while we're out there on the show. Actually be walking around the pits, and then Richard Chuck Norris Guido driving down for race week right now. Yeah, Taylor Hedrick says he wants to be like Rich when he grows up. I don't blame him. I do too. I just want Rich to be my uncle. That's all I want. So a lot of good stuff tonight, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Again, we can't do this without your support. So if you haven't done it yet, please hit that share button. Let everybody know that you were on watching us tonight. And if you haven't done it, you need to go follow all of our sponsors and race car friends here. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Howard's Cam, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. All right, guys. We'll see you very soon. I'm getting back to, I'm going to go tuck my kids in and then back to posting, back to editing.
All right. See you guys
later.